All right. We ready to rock and roll?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gelfo, yeah, Mr. Gelfo.
You see that beautiful woman in the audience? Not besides Goldie.
Oh my goodness.
I told her when you start talking, I go, this is the sign for you.
Goldie, would you leave us to the pledge of allegiance?
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, bless this assemblage. Grant us the wisdom to make our every decision fair-minded and in the best interest for all its residents. I kindly ask everyone to please remain standing for just a moment. You'll notice tonight that Tom Nardi is not here. There was a death in his family, and I kindly ask everyone to please keep Violet Civitella in your prayers. Thank you.
How's it going, Mr. David Gilford?
Very well, very well.
How's the trail?
This is some interesting characters. Well, I knocked on your mom's door.
Oh, you did?
She wasn't home. I didn't know it was her. Then I knocked on her door, and the lights say, I don't know, some old, single.
Okay, can you hear us okay? Perfect. Well, thank you very much for coming, everybody. Let's get right into it. I think we have a relatively straightforward and short meeting. Any comments on the minutes from the September 20th meeting?
No, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes as read.
Second.
Gelfard?
Aye.
Mendocino?
Aye.
Nyors?
Aye.
Villanova?
Yes.
Harvey?
Yes. Okay, Hope?
First, we'll do the town clerk's report for the month of September 2011. Total shares remitted to the supervisor, $2,532.11 compared to last year, $1,915.34. Tax collections for the month of September. Deposited to the supervisor of the town of Rye, $35,334,625.52. Deposited to the treasurer of the village of Portchester, $48,622.96. Deposited to the treasurer of the village of Rybrook, $10,265.23. A total of $35,393,513.71.
Thank you, Hope. Mr. Nowotny?
All right, the Crawford Park report, you'll see we gave you the full year-to-date report, but we reversed it so that the year-end numbers are on top. We are running about $30,000 less than last year. Again, a lot of that is specifically related to the elimination of the Sunday night parties we used to run. If you'll remember, we were getting a lot of resident complaints, and we eliminated those. So that has translated into a substantial amount of revenue loss. The price increase has led to a little bit lower volume, and nonprofit volume, however, seems to still be up. To give you an example, in 2010, the nonprofit mansion events were 207. In 2011, they're 189. So there is a drop, but it's relatively small. They're still there. Other than that, things are going pretty well. The staff is in the process of painting the hallway, and I thought, and I don't see the architect here.
She's on the way. She took the train express to Stamford, she told me.
Okay. So, but we do have H2 Architects was supposed to be doing a presentation tonight on the preliminary stair plans. I think I emailed the town council the basic layouts. She can explain a lot better than I can.
Which hallway are they painting? Going up the stairs?
Up to the attic. If you ever went up there, you would see that
Yeah,
the
it was
plaster was
peeling.
cracking and peeling and so forth. So because we're going to be doing work on the second floor, we figured let's get that thing painted up and done so that when construction is done, we just keep on working our way down to the second floor.
Gotcha.
Very good. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Novotny. Comments from the public?
Bishop.
Yep.
Okay, there are several things I'd like to talk to you about. I know it's a short meeting, so let's do it. Our assessments are too much. There's too much off the tax rolls between the 11 group homes and the municipal property and the nonprofit corporates. And in Portchester, we can't take it because we're a village of approximately 2.4 square miles. We are a poor village, poor to low-income village. And a lot of stores are empty on Main Street. A lot of people cannot sell their homes. Practically nothing in Portchester is being sold because our taxes are much too high. And there are big problems in the village of Portchester. We need help with the assessments. They have to come down. They just have to. People are complaining about their taxes, but we're in a recession, depression, you have to remember. And everything has gone sky high. All the fuel costs have gone sky high. Telephone costs have gone sky high. But they can't take it because they've lost their jobs. And they're practically losing their houses with mortgages that can't be paid. So there are lots of problems in the village of Portchester. We're not an elitist community, and we have to be helped. And Rye Town is the only one that can help us at this point. The only thing I'd like to ask you is at Portchester, at Rye Town, Oakland Beach Park, and that's what it should say, the Portchester taxpayer is complaining they need low-cost parking, very low-cost parking, practically no cost in parking from the village of people of Portchester because they're having terrible problems. The weather has created big problems for you people because a lot of people will not come out to the beaches and the parklands when the weather is so bad. And we've had very bad weather, and there have been really problems in that. Also, Rye Town should say Crawford Park. Rye Town, Crawford Park. And that's what should be on everything. I noticed that in the parkland that they have Rye Town Park on Oakland Beach. You can't do that. You have two parks, and those two parks have to be completely independent. And that's what should happen there. I just want to make you aware that I represent a lot of people. They either stop me in the street or they call me and leave messages on my cell phone. I can't take it because I'm only one person. They can't come out at night. Most seniors don't come out at night. They don't come to the meetings, they can't get there, or they don't have cars, or there are big problems.
Television.
So, pardon?
Watch us on television.
No, they don't even have. A lot of them can't have television because their taxes are killing them, or their bills are killing them. Their gas bills are killing them. The electric bills are killing them. They can't do it. They don't even watch television, a lot of them. There's big problems there. A lot of them are not even keeping heat on because the heating bills are killing them. So we are suffering because we've got almost 50% off the tax rolls between the nonprofit corporates and the municipal property in the village of Portchester. And 11 group homes? Tell me what other community has 11 group homes all off the tax rolls. Tell me. I don't know that. We're the only one that has 11 group homes in a village our size, and we're getting killed. and we're getting murdered because one of the political parties that was in gave G&S the whole downtown area and took them off and gave them special tax dispensation. Is that fair to the taxpayer and citizen? No, it isn't. But that's what's going on. So we need help. And you're the only people that can help us because you control the assessments.
Thank you, Goldie. Well, when you see our budget later this afternoon, you'll see that we reduce taxes every year, so I know you continue.
Please God.
Thank you. It's not a lot, but we certainly reduce tax every year I've been in office. Any other comments from the public? Any other comments? Okay. Has the architect arrived?
No.
All right, so
I'd
let's
like to
go.
make a motion that we keep that presentation open until the end of the meeting.
Wonderful. I don't think we need it. We'll just, yeah, perfect. Great, thank you.
She'll be here.
And there's, so now, well, actually, let's go right into the budget then. I don't think we have to formally vote on that, do we? So, let's go straight to the budget then. In terms of the budget, Mr. Byrnes, you want to tell us what we're doing here?
Well, today is just the town clerk presenting the tentative budget, which is early, but this way there's not a special meeting to the board to present the budget. And so you have the tentative
When you say
budget.
early, but it's got to be the end of the month, right? October 31st?
Well, it has to be submitted to town clerk by October 30th, and then
Right.
she presents it normally by November 10th. But
Right.
this way, you have the tentative budget early, and you have a little more time to review it. And there'll be a whole schedule till the next meeting, November 15th, to revise the preliminary budget. But, this budget is submission of the department heads, a review from the financial team and the supervisor to come up with, a first draft of the budget that's something to work off of. In front of you, you have the tentative budget, and you also have some work papers and just the budget highlights, and I'll just go through that real quickly for the budget highlights, and if you have that in front of you, that's just the document, For this tentative budget, appropriations expenditures were reduced by 2.4% from the 2011 adopted budget. Projected non-tax revenues were increased 3.2%, or $79,700, and the impact to the town tax levy submitted in this tentative budget is a 17.4% decrease over 2011's adopted budget. So it is another decrease in the budget and the tax levy, and we did appropriate $610,000 of the fund balance in this tentative budget, and last year we appropriated $705,000. And that's because we've been able to manage the tax collections through the implement process and also reduce control the expenditures for the last number of years, so we have a strong, healthy fund balance as at the end of 2010, which is like $3.2 million.
Right, I think basically we reduce taxes every year, been in office, and we're looking to reduce it again by 17% this year. Basically taking it down for a cumulative, 60% if this budget gets passed, 67%. Now again, that for the people at home, the tax bill in the town of Rye is small, so I don't want you to think that your tax bill is going to be materially impacted. But certainly those of us on the town board here are proud of the fact that we reduce your taxes every year. I think the second thing is we've actually been able to increase the fund balance since we took office as well. So not only been able to reduce taxes, but through to the end of last year, in 2010, I'm not mistaken, we increased the fund balance as well.
Right, from 2.6 to 3.2.
So we've added, and so when we talk about using the fund balance this year, basically these are savings we've generated over the last 4 years. In fact, I was working on the numbers at home. The last budget from the previous administration was about $4.1 million. We run the town on an average, thanks to Mr. Nowotnik's vigilance, at about $3 million a year. So we've effectively saved $4 million a year. Now, this budget, we're looking about $3.5 million. We can run 100% of town operations with the savings we've generated, for well over a year.
Correct.
I think the second thing is to point out is, and you'll see in the budget, we're projecting non-tax revenues to increase by 3.2%, but they're down on average about 27% from the previous administration. If you take the previous administration's last 3 years, their non-tax revenues were $3.7 million on average. I think it hit $4 million in 1 year. Non-tax revenues. In other words, revenues that don't come from taxes. I mean, it's important to understand that the town is unusual in municipality in that 80% of revenues are not taxes. Mostly it's the state mortgage taxes, you can see on our budget. So 80% of revenues aren't taxes. In the previous administration, the non-tax revenues, in other words, revenues, income other than taxes, were $3.7 million a year for the last 3 years. In our first 3 years in office, those numbers have averaged $2.7 million, 27% decline. If we'd had those $3.7 million, we would have been able to eliminate the town tax altogether, which is what our original goal was. And secondly, would have been able to rebate to homeowners $250 per homeowner. Because $0.7 million more each year, $2.8 million divided by 11,000 households, we would have been able to rebate to homeowners after 4 years about $250 per household. Because we wouldn't be able to hold on to that money. Just so the public understands it on. We also have a huge rainy day balance. Our fund balance is 100% of the budget, more or less, today. Most municipalities are about 14, 15%. So we're at 100%. So we're off the charts protection. Now, there's some rationale for that since we collect $160 million in taxes every year on a small budget. But we would have been forced, if we'd had the same windfall revenues at the previous administration. Goldie, how would you like that? I would have eliminated your tax, and I would have given you $250. So that's the result, I think, of the hard work in terms of taking expenditures out of the budget, and I think it's a nice result. And I'm proud. This is our fourth budget, and I'm proud of the fact that we, again, continue to be able to reduce taxes. We're not taking them down to zero this year, or that's not certainly my recommendation, because we're still in a very uncertain economic environment. If the Europeans can get their act together, hopefully we'll pull out of the mess. But if they don't, I'm terribly fearful that we will be in a dire economic situation. So as we budget, as we plan, we want to, make certain that we have sufficient funds to run the town.
Okay.
So any questions from the board?
No, Dave, thanks for the hard work, and you're going to give us the calendar, the schedule that we need.
We give you the calendar. There's other supporting schedules. One of them was today with actuals that are in there for work papers for review of the actuals. What I gave you today is 2009 to 2010 actuals. So that this is a working copy. You can from now until November 15th. That's when we'll make changes to the preliminary budget from the board, and also address the employee salary increases and those issues.
Dave, now I know in the past we've had the workshop. I believe Councilman Gelfarb talked about that. Is that something that helped you through the process in the past?
To get all the board's comments at one meeting is very helpful. This way, regarding.
So we should.
Yes.
You want us to focus on that workshop then? That was a Saturday, right, Dave?
Yes. I think we should definitely, sorry, Councilman.
No, go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to say, I think that maybe we should meet as a board and have a workshop, but I don't know if we need to meet with each department like we did before. I know you like to get all their inputs and
Well,
such, but it just seems like it's a very long
Well, maybe we can,
day.
It is, but I want to talk about in my remarks at the end, but one of the things I want to do is thank the town employees at the town of Rye. I think they've really stepped up to the plate, right from Town Clerk Vespia to everybody in the town has really stepped up to the plate, because what we've done is we've really empowered each department head to take responsibility for their department. And Mr. Markowitz, who's here tonight. Mr. Mecca, by the way, I want to wish him the best. He's recuperating. Mr. Mecca has been a standout performer as well. He's recuperating. I want to wish him the best. And then Mr. Nardi, we heard, because there's a death in the family. Basically, he's been terrific, and across the board. The judges... Ann has gotten us all kinds of grants. So I want to thank the town employees for really stepping up to the plate. So, and also, it gives the department heads an opportunity to sort of say, okay, this is what we accomplished last year, and this is what we accomplished this year. I mean, in my view, every department head has had a set of goals at the beginning of the year they put forward and try to execute on those. And there's no doubt in my mind that every department within the town of Rye operates better today than they did last year and better than the year before. So they've really worked to progress it. So I think, I agree, maybe we should try and keep more focused and keep it to 15 minutes each department so we can get out of there. But it would be good just to review the goals and the budget and make sure they have what they need. And also, hold their feet to the fire a little bit too, right?
But I think that we as a board need to meet separate to that whole day and make our decisions as to what we want to do.
Yep.
Maybe we can incorporate that into a meeting before the meeting, so, well, we can...
Or after the meeting.
Or after the meeting. We can, you know what, that may be even better if we met
Now
after
you're
this
talking
meeting.
about dinner too now.
Yeah.
Not only breakfast and lunch, now we're going into
If we have the opportunity to listen to the department heads, because then we can, discuss really how to apply the department heads' focus, And so maybe, I think it's a great idea, so we should focus on that.
Can I ask one question on one line item? Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at how the medical and dental expense is projected to go down. Having been at the last week's school board meeting where there was a real concern about the projected increases in the New York State health insurance plan.
We're just basing it off looking at run rates this year. We have less people on the medical plan. We have less retirees in 2012, and that's a factor in it. So we were looking at trying to take down a little bit more, but there is an increase in the rates, but that's the number that we worked with Bishop on, for at this point. So there's less retirees and employees actually that are receiving the medical.
Okay, thanks.
Other questions?
Schedule a public hearing for November 15th on the budget.
I'd like to make a motion that we schedule a public hearing.
Is that the third Tuesday? Okay.
For the public. This will be on November 15th at 7:30 p.m.
Perfect.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Should we, I guess we'll have to formally schedule, since the town board will be meeting, that working session we'll need to formally approve as well, correct?
Well, if you're going to schedule another meeting, you would just schedule that, but this is the public hearing on the budget.
No, I understand that, but so I'm saying that if the five of us want to get together, we have to formally approve
Call a
it.
meeting and...
I was going to say the Saturday, do we want to try for the Saturday before?
I won't be here, but you don't need me to be here.
We don't have to do it well, I guess, we could do it in one evening if you want. I think it'd be,
I don't need to be here.
That'd
Let
be
it
great.
huh?
Let's do it on an evening then.
Let's do it on the evening, I don't want you to be there.
Saturday.
We'll work it out. We don't need to identify that now.
Yeah.
Well, how are we going to?
We have to announce, we have to vote on a meeting,
Yeah, we have to
though.
vote on it.
We don't need to vote on it now.
No, but I'm not going to do a specials, I don't know what.
All we have to do is,
So let me ask the town attorney, do we have to, if we don't decide the meeting date tonight, do we have to recongregate to formally announce?
You can call a meeting as the supervisor anytime, as long as you give 48 hours notice.
Okay,
So you can...
so I can do that, all right?
You can do that.
Yeah, okay.
However, this is the tentative budget, and the preliminary budget is what will be the focus of the hearing, and that will be submitted to you before the 15th, I guess.
Well,
If you want to make any changes to the tentative budget, you would do that before the 15th.
Well, that's why I'd like to meet with the department staff and all that before we make any
before
changes.
that, that's
Yeah,
correct.
so,
We'd have to call another special meeting for that. If all five of you are going to be there, or in fact, if three or
Three
more
of
are
you.
going to be there.
right, so I can do that independently
Yes.
without, okay. All right. So, okay, perfect, I'll just call the meeting. I expect it'll be that, we'll look at everybody's schedule and try and coordinate, but I expect it'll be the, sort of the 10th, 11th, or 12th.
Okay?
Are you, what,
Veterans Day is in one of those days.
11th is the letter in Veterans Day. So the 10th,
It is not great for me. I know already.
11th,
11th is a Friday, I think.
yeah, it is.
I could do it if we want to do it. We'll do it then.
It's Veterans Day.
Well, that's even better, you're off, we can, but you tell me, I'm just trying to find a time.
Please, don't work it around my schedule.
All right. All right, why don't we do Saturday?
It's not
We'll do the
this
Saturday.
Saturday. 12th, fine.
Saturday the 12th.
All right, that's fine.
Saturday the 12th, at what time? Bob, is that good for you?
Yeah.
So Saturday the 12th at 9 o'clock, is that too early?
No, I was thinking like 1.
One. One, you lose the whole day. I'm with.
We did it in the afternoon years ago.
No, 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock, or if you need to sleep in, 9:30.
Mr. Supervisor,
There's a conflict.
there is a conflict
All right, can we take this offline?
With what?
Yeah.
It runs on to.
Yeah, why
With
don't
what, with what?
with there's a cemetery, African-American cemetery meeting on the 12th that morning.
At what time is that?
10 o'clock?
All right, so we'll do the afternoon then. What time do you want to do?
1?
Greenwood Cemetery.
1 o'clock it is.
1
Does that work for
o'clock.
everybody?
We'll be here.
Okay, so 1 o'clock, and we'll get the details of the meeting, but so do we need to vote it?
I hope we put out the notice.
Okay, so we're good. Perfect. Okay, any other any other questions on the budget?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know if anybody else. Okay, I just wanted to point out a couple of things.
Thank you, Dave. Want me to sit up, stand up there?
Yeah, sure. Well, what I wanted to point out was just that there's a $90,000 contingency. There are no salary increases in this budget. For every 1% salary increase, we have a $12,000 increase in expenditure, more or less.
Correct.
So I just wanted to point that out, so we need to think about that as we meet with our department heads. And the other thing I want to point out, just in terms of, was the pension expense. Pension expense, as I understand, is basically doubled since 2009. We're at $185,000 projecting this year.
Right.
And it's
in fact,
effectively double.
2009 is right, it's about a little over
90,000.
90,000.
So I just again, sort of, as we're thinking about global issues for the state, and we're trying to remember, the last point is, Town Attorney noted, there's a lot of discussion about the property tax increase. Well, that doesn't impact us really, since we're having a lower, but there's tax cap,
The
right?
cap, you're well under the cap. The cap is
2%.
The levy, it's 2%. You're having a 17% decrease on the levy.
No, I understand that, but I just, in terms of the Rye-Town Park, when we run it, Rye City was having issues with it.
Yeah. We talked yesterday about that. The Rye-Town Park Commission is not a taxing entity. Since they cannot adopt a local law to override the cap, I don't believe that the Rye-Town Park Commission is subject to the cap, but each municipality that is part of the commission is.
Right.
So it's not really, it may be a Rye City problem. I don't see it as a Park Commission problem, and it's not a Rye Brook or a Portchester problem, because they don't fund the park the way the city does.
Perfect.
But the city will have to, deal with it in terms of how they fund the park operation for their half.
Great. Great. Thanks so much, Mr. Byrnes. Okay, well, that worked out well. Should we have, is our architect here now? Wonderful, thank you.
Let me just take a look.
Yes, please.
Where's the popcorn?
What is this for?
Like African-American cemetery ceremony.
I'm going to tee this up sooner.
It should work there, right?
I would hope so.
Big cemetery, that's just a small
Yay!
Okay,
Yeah, it's in the Greenwood Cemetery, right? Yeah.
I'll push this out. Well, the problem we have is that it's not too long, so let me do this.
Would you like a chair? Sure. Glad you pulled up one of
Maybe she can borrow this instead.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, we'll give you a microphone here, and
Sitting on my pencil.
Oh, yeah?
That's okay.
Oh, I am. And I didn't notice.
Joe, it's Bill's,
Hi, my name is Yangi Han. Thanks for having me.
We don't hear you.
Oh, do you hear me now? I'm actually,
you have to talk into.
okay, my name is Yangi Han. Thank you for having me, and let's see.
We still don't hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Look at the picture.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, Going over to the Crawford Park Mansion, we had discussed when we first met with Bishop about putting the stairs at the interior, as opposed to putting on the exterior, as potentially being cost-saving. So we actually have two, I would say 2.5 schemes, because the third scheme is a variation on one of the two main ones. So I'm going to go for the first one so far. So what you see here, I'm going to just zoom in.